Hi everyone. I just want to run through a quick apostrophe review to just kind of hit the highlights and review those rules one more time so that you're prepared for the quiz that I'm posting tomorrow, which is due Wednesday. Just a quick reminder, the rules for apostrophe use. Rule number 1, to show possession with a singular noun or any other noun that does not end in S, use apostrophe S. And looks like this. So here are some examples. I have singular examples: Tim's truck, Sarah's running shoes, the dog's treat. I also put in a couple of plural, like the children's toys, the team's victory is singular. And then I threw in a singular last name. The Jones family took a photo. It's the Joneses family photo. And this is one option for a name that ends in S. If it's just one S, you can use apostrophe S. Singular noun gets an apostrophe S, and if you use that rule consistently every time with a name that ends with one S, it is grammatically correct. You just need to be consistent. Rule number 2 is showing possession with a plural noun or a singular noun that ends in more than one S. And so this would be plural nouns that end in S. And in that case, you would use just an apostrophe, like the 7 teachers have desks. So it's the teachers' desks, S apostrophe. There were several countries who supported postponing the Olympics and to keep their teams home and safe. So it became several countries' Olympic teams. So it's a bunch of countries. That's the plural for country. Plural countries, apostrophe, Olympic teams, plural. An option that you could use for a name that ends in S to show possession is to include the apostrophe at the end. So the Joneses family photo with apostrophe S is correct. And so is the Jones family photo. This one is more correct. The Jones apostrophe S is more correct. This is also correct. The big thing to remember is whichever way you decide to do it, you must do it consistently throughout that piece of writing. So if you're going to talk about the Jones family multiple times, you could not show possession like this in one paragraph and then possession like this in another. It has to be the same throughout. Remember, English grammar loves matchy-matchy. The big exception to the plural noun or the singular noun rule comes when you have a name or a word that ends in more than one S. So in this instant, Bess is singular. Bess lost her lift ticket. So we're trying to figure out where is Bess's lift ticket. And so it'd be Bess apostrophe. There are already 2 S's here. If we threw an apostrophe S at the end of her name, it would be 3 S's, and it's visually confusing and a little bit ugly. So if a name ends in more than just one S, just put an apostrophe at the end. Rules for apostrophe use number 3. Use an apostrophe in contractions to show missing letters, like won't, shouldn't. And then the big thing is to remember the difference between whose and whose, who is, whose book is this, as well as it's and its, it is cloudy out today. I took the dog for its walk. Rule number 4, we avoid using an apostrophe when using a possessive pronoun, such as my, mine, ours, yours, his, hers, theirs. Because they're already possessive, they don't need apostrophes to show possession. Rule number 5, if 2 or more people share ownership of something, use an apostrophe with only the last name. So example, Gavin, Ben, and Laura own the baseball team together. So what that becomes is Gavin, Ben, and Laura's baseball team. If, however, the three of them each own different baseball teams, then we have to use an apostrophe S with each name. So we have Gavin's, Ben's, and Laura's baseball teams. Let me take you back one slide. Okay, so in number 5 here, it's one team that the three of them own together. Gavin, Ben, and Laura's baseball team. One team. If they own them separately, Gavin, Ben, and Laura each own a different baseball team for 3 teams total. Uh-oh, look. I forgot my Oxford comma. I'm sorry. So we have Gavin, Ben, and Laura each owning a different baseball team. So we have 3 teams. Then our sentence or our fragment here becomes Gavin's, Ben's, and Laura's baseball teams. 3 people own a team. That makes 3 teams. All right, and then I have a little bit of an extra because I noticed a problem in some of the rough drafts, people using numbers like in the 1920s or in the 1990s or something like that. So I want to talk about the use of apostrophes with numbers, especially in years. And here's the rule. There's no apostrophe to make something plural. So if you're talking about the 1920s, you're talking about a group of years, right? Well, you're making the year plural. It's not just 1920, but it's 21, 22, 23. And so when we make something plural, we do not add an apostrophe. So here's an example. In the 1920s, people loved jazz music. Okay. If you wanted to just talk about the 20s and not the 1920s, right? You wanted to just drop off 19 to make it shorter. That becomes a contraction. And remember that we use apostrophes to show missing letters, or in this case, missing numbers. So here's the example for that. Jazz music was the soundtrack of the 20s. This apostrophe indicates the missing digits. The S at the end is showing us that we're speaking in a plural. 2 more examples, very, very similar. I was born in the 1970s. I'm making it plural. It's not possessive. And then the second version of that is, my childhood in the 70s was one of optimism. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind when you are typing with numbers. We see it a lot of times with the apostrophe S, and it's wrong. So something for you to remember. This is not on the quiz, but because I'm seeing it in your essays, I just thought I should mention it. And then lastly, the last extra is a word about names, especially for something like Christmas cards or signs that people put outside their houses. There is no apostrophe needed to make a name plural. And it doesn't matter if the name ends in an S or not. So, you could say greetings from, or Merry Christmas from, or Happy Easter, or Happy Passover, whatever holiday it is. Greetings from the Joneses. Okay, to make something plural, you either add an S or an ES, right? So because Jones ends with a consonant, we add ES. The wrong way to do it, greeting from the Jones, unless it's, a card from the Joneses dog. What would be better, though, to avoid that confusion altogether is what I use, because my last name is Hellman. And so if I wanted to make that plural, it would be greetings from the Hellmans. And that just sounds weird to me because it should be Hellmen, but that's my name. So I always say greetings from the Hellman family. And that's what you could do too. If you're not sure, if you forget, you're like, what do I do? Is it ES? Is it apostrophe? I don't know. Switch up the phrase, greetings from the Jones family. All right, that is it for the extras for you. Good luck studying and good luck on the grammar quiz.